Welcome to lesson 13 of the Alchemical Cabala, the current of Caith, the chariot, east below on the cube of space. The letter Caith means fence or enclosure, and it has the function of speech. Right. This is the key of self-mastery, of the victorious self. Since this key is associated with speech, we're going to just jump right in and start reading from the Book of Wisdom, this key of mastery. So please, as you will, everyone just unmute yourself and one at a time, please just start reading and state what occurs to you in key number 7, the Chariot.
I see opposites, balance, the Holy Spirit coming down from above with the chalice. Let's see. Some red in the background, meaning some action, and the green is love. The water flowing behind the chariot. And I just see a lot of astrological signs on the person, and that's enough. I'll let other people speak.
Thank you. That's excellent.
There's two faces, half moons on his shoulders.
I see his head in the cosmos, and he's part on Earth, but his head's up in the cosmos.
Ah, yes, nice.
So much.
Perfect. All good.
You have green, which is the color of Venus. So it also stands for love. So his chariot rests on a symbol for love. We have the two sphinxes that are black and white, and they're not facing each other, but they're relaxed. He's controlling them with an invisible ring. So the reins are not a physical one, it is the mind that controls the two sphinxes, which are the extremes of black and white. So you have purity and you have the white, which, remember, white is always God. And the black is the color which is before manifestation, but the opposite. So we have opposites. And the blue water is the stream of consciousness from the High Priestess card. So you've got the water flowing by. There's a level of consciousness where things are diluted in water and dissolved in water.
Nice.
And the yellow sky, that's so familiar from the Fool card and the Magician card, if I'm right. So we've got this wonderful yellow sky of consciousness. And he's on the other side of the river from the city, separated from it. And so what does that mean?
Pretty cool.
And he's Okay.
Sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm just noticing those red rooftops in the background, and I was going to say that I saw a lot of balance in this card, but I feel like there's something imbalanced about the rooftops in the background. There's 5 or 6 of them on his right side and 4 on his left side. And I like that, the red activity is in the background, but I'm just a little not quite sure about why it's like 5 on that side and 4 on that side. It just bugs me because it's not symmetry.
Right.
And he's just on a square. He's not on a cube. There's no dimension to it.
Well, yeah, that's partly just the drawing. This really is a full cube. He's rising up out of, if you look right here, you can see a little depth, and the columns behind him are the back columns of the cube. And the columns here at the front are the front 4 corners.
Okay.
So just probably need a little more shadowing in there to see, but this is a full cube that he is rising from within the center of the cube.
And his wheels are orange. So orange is the color of the sun.
Yep.
Solar color. So he's riding on wheels that represent the sun. And there's a wall between him and the town. And you said the
letter K.
Yeah, letter is a fence.
That's right.
Closure.
That's the meaning of this Hebrew letter right here. Fence or enclosure.
Yeah, and there's a little fence down there too.
Yeah, right there. Right there.
There's also the wings and the circle, and that's a symbol that Unity Church uses. I don't know what it means.
Who uses it?
Unity Church. Church.
That's the astrological symbol of the sun.
Oh.
Anytime you see a circle with a dot in the center, that is the astrological symbol of the sun. Good observation.
And it's clear that it's clear that he's in the middle of the extremes with the white and black. Neutral, objective, indifferent, centered.
Calm. Yeah. Yeah, I think what's the word? Equanimity, right?
Equanimity.
Yes.
I have a question of what the necklace symbolizes.
You see, so this is gold, and it's a serpent.
Okay.
See, and it's pointing down. It's come up around his neck, and he's wearing it like a necklace, and it's gold, and it's pointing towards the breastplate of his heart.
Which has 3 T's on it.
Yeah.
I always love the black and white. It's almost like you can see, this reminds me of the cosmos itself. This like shining stars within that, but he's wearing all this armor. But you see the body itself looks almost like the night sky.
And we have the white shield. Again, God, the protection of God.
Right. The divine, that's right. The divine crown.
And what is that symbol? That's a Hindu symbol.
Yes. Well, it's going to get to that, but good eye. That's called the lingam yoni. And I'll get to that in just a little bit, unless someone wants to comment on it.
I have a question on it looks like a male skirt, not sure. there's a lot of different symbols that almost look Egyptian. I don't really know.
Yep.
I'm sure they have some sort of meaning. Does anyone know anything about these?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, it's best to contemplate and visualize. When you visualize your key at night, try to just see as many of these symbols as you can in your visualization. And if you look across the belt itself, you can see clearly they are the zodiac signs, right? And they're in procession. So you see, like right here is Aries, and there's Taurus, right? And there's Gemini, right? And Cancer, and then what's that? What is it?
Leo.
Yes, Leo. Thank you. Leo, right. So he's wearing the belt of the zodiac right around his waist. This is the victorious divine self. Remember, the 12 edges of the cube are the signs of the zodiac. And he's got a gold belt with all of them around. He's rising from the cube itself.
So his personality represents all aspects of the zodiac then, right?
Absolute mastery.
Yeah, cool.
Yes, very cool. So if anyone's familiar with the Bhagavad Gita of Hinduism, the most sacred book, I think, in Hinduism, this key in the Western tradition, this one key is the whole Bhagavad Gita in one key.
Wow.
That's a bold statement, but I will stand by it.
We didn't talk about the staff either.
Right? Right here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got a gold staff with the luminescent, right? The figure 8 in gold. And it looks to be joined with the crescent of the moon, right? So we have the sun and moon in union, and he has complete mastery holding that scepter. See 3 crescents in this figure. This is the zodiac sign of Cancer, the crab. See his breastplate kind of encloses and protective. A lot of water in this key. It's a watery key. Mercy.
You know, it appears to me with the 2 faces on his shoulders, the left and right.
Yep.
On his right shoulder, to me, they look different. One looks a little distressed and one looks very calm and happy and anticipating.
That's a very good eye. So you are correct. So these are the figures of what? Thespian, the masks that we wear, right? The happy and the not happy.
Yes.
The like and the not like.
Eros, Pathos, yes.
Right. So interestingly, now remember, when we work with the tree, the figures too are wearing the tree. So his left shoulder shows a happy face. Does anyone recall what sphere is at our left shoulder? It's the blue sphere of mercy. Balanced on the right shoulder, because we're back into the tree of life, the right shoulder is the red sphere of severity or action. And they're balanced. He has equanimity, and he is perfectly centered in self. This is yourself, not driven by the likes or dislikes. Okay. Does anyone want to say something, or I'm going to move forward?
I do see that he has green leaves inside his crown.
Oh, nice. Nice. Thank you
I
for
just
bringing that.
realized that. I hadn't really noticed that. I've
Oh yeah,
painted this thing many times.
just like the Fool and the Empress.
Yes.
The wreath of victory is upon his head.
And the three
Yep.
five-starred stars, and then that's mankind is 5 stars.
Yes.
So he's gained his royal visage, his royal crown.
Yep.
In full bloom. Yeah, it's blooming the stars. But why 3?
Good question.
I could only think of the law in action.
Right.
Got the Trinity.
Holy Trinity.
Son and Holy Spirit.
Yes.
And he's rising into, if you notice how there's a black triangle that his head and crown goes into.
Very nice.
So on the tree of life, this key connects Bina, the third sphere on the tree of life, which is black, deep cobalt blue and purple.
Yeah.
And he connects it to action, or Mars on the tree of life.
Great.
All right.
And the divine mind on the simple. I'm getting used to using the simple tree.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
That's very good. Okay. All right. So we're going to move forward now. It's going to be a fun week. All right. Okay. So at this time, we have now traveled 10 of the 12 currents on the cube of space, on the outer edges. All these little red arrows you see, you can come back and watch this later if you like. If you have not memorized the directions of the currents, you need to do so. But we have traveled 10, and there are 2 currents on the outer edges that are remaining. The last 2 outer currents that we have to travel are the one this week, Keith, which is the zodiac sign of Cancer. We're traveling this week, and it is right here on the east below, traveling from north to south. Okay. The other current that's left is this key, Temperance, the letter Salmek, which shows the holy guardian angel, which in tarot is Michael, and which means who is like God. The Temperance key is the middle path of the middle pillar on the tree of life itself. And the significance of this key, the last one we'll travel on the outer, is key of knowledge and conversation with the holy guardian angel. The Temperance key is also the zodiac sign of Sagittarius, the archer. It's interesting that the constellation Sagittarius lies in the region of our sky that points to the very center of our Milky Way galaxy, which is our home, that we live in our own home, that is our own solar system. So these last 2 paths and currents, let's look at where they happen to lie and lay in the Book of Wisdom on the 3x7 layout. So this is interesting. In the 3x7 layout, everyone is understanding that I just cut this last column out for emphasis, right? This is the top, middle, and below. Okay. So we have the Chariot key above the Temperance key, or the Holy Guardian Angel, above the world. Now, remember, each column is a stage of spiritual unfoldment in man. The 7th row right here shows the final stage of spiritual unfoldment of the 7. Hence, it is called the Triad of Mastery. remember that the top column shows the powers that we use. The middle of the pillar shows the principle or the mediating principle intelligence that we use that results in creating the spiritual stage of unfoldment shown at the bottom. Seen here is the world key. The world key has the opposites of dominion and slavery, depending on if we are identified with our true self or not. If we're identified with our true self, we are consciously participating in co-creation and dominion. To the degree that we are not identified with our true self, we have the experience of slavery. So it's interesting that these two keys on the cube make the last row of spiritual unfoldment on the 3x7 layout, resulting in the world key. Does anyone know where the world key is on the cube of space?
In the middle.
It's exactly in the center. So that's interesting, right? Not only that is the world key the center of the cube of space, but is the first path to initiate into the tree of life. See it here? The world key connects Malkut, the kingdom, to the moon key. Yesod is the first path that we will initiate and travel into the tree of life when we get to there. So that's pretty interesting.
That's great.
Yeah, pretty cool. Now, but first things first, right? This week, this is the current we're navigating. The current of Kaith, the fence or enclosed field. This intelligence is sometimes called the field of sin and punishment. Now we know that the word sin simply means to miss the mark. It's an archery term. Someone, I believe, mentioned the solar symbol here, right? On the cube of space. And see, the cube itself is all gray. So it shows that all polarities and opposites have been balanced. The black and white have all been integrated. Does anyone see the bullseye? It's the astrological symbol of the sun. Archery term. We're aiming for the sun. The sun itself is our aim. Below the sun is the ancient symbol, the Hindu symbol of the lingam yoni, and it's red, it's active, and it's surrounded by the purity of the shield, right? So what this shows is that when one has been successful in their inner alchemical marriage of their own masculine and feminine energies, which is what the lingam yoni shows. Diamond here is the masculine, this oval here is the feminine. When these are combined and united within yourself, these energies are transmuted and raised by the divine self to the sun. But for you that fear my name, the sun of righteousness will rise with healing in its wings, and you will go free, leaping with joy, like calves let out to pasture. Malachi 4:2. The seventh key of tarot shows the whole or holy self-divine within you. rising from the third dimensional cube of space. A symbol for the whole body, your whole body. The charioteer is the real you. No longer confused by identifying itself with the endless forms of creation, including the body. It is the great real I am that you are. Remember, all is mind. All is mind. All is mind. The charioteer controls the vehicle of the personality and the body with its likes and dislikes. We recall that the left shoulder is mercy, the right severity or action, volition, and memory. And the driver is perfectly at peace, right in the middle, and right between the black and white sphinxes that have pulled this chariot across the river of consciousness. Here the self has mastered the polarities of desire to steer its own vehicle and crossed the river. Now, someone brought up the city in the back and the lack of balance here. That's really good observation. Let's speak to that for a second. So, this city behind, what it shows, what it represents, is the mass mind. This city back here is all belief systems that are held by the masses of all people, both collectively and personally. These belief systems are unique to each civilization and culture, and unique to every individual. But the universal theme to this key is saying the same thing. No matter what belief system you find yourself in, or that you adhere to or identify with, to truly realize and be oneself truly, all the social conditioning and belief systems that one identifies with now have to simply be identified with for what they are. All is mind. And all of these identifications that are not the self simply must be left behind and transcended. The self seen here as the charioteer has left behind all of these belief systems and false self-identifications, and has crossed the inner river of consciousness, where we see one of the most beautiful additions I've seen in tarot, and to this trump brought to us by Ruth Blyton for this particular key. Right up here in this corner, we see the receiving of grace from the divine. The dove is bringing him the Holy Grail, the living essence of grace or love itself. Now note the position of where this dove and chalice are descending on the key. It is the exact position where the fool is looking. It is the exact position where the magician is raising their wand of power. It is exactly where the divine seed is shown in the transition key. And exactly where the sign of Aquarius is seen in both the Wheel of Fortune and the World Key. Grace. The driver of the chariot has crossed this river of consciousness in a stone cube with orange wheels. Orange, the color of the sun, and also the eighth sphere of Mercury. the intellect. Remember, all is mind. He is in complete control of his vehicle and controls it by the reins of the mind. This intelligence is called the intelligence of the house of influence. See the canopy of stars above? They're all six-pointed stars, showing the union of above and below. From the Book of Formation on this current, the 18th path is called the house of influence, by the greatness of whose abundance the influx of good things upon created beings is increased. And from the midst of the investigation, the arcana and hidden senses are drawn forth, which dwell in its shade and which cling to it, from the cause of all causes. Remember, the Holy Guardian Angel guarantees you will succeed in the great work. The only failure is failure to try again. So if you experience any difficulties in key 7, it generally means you're simply misidentifying or being challenged to more accurately identify with your true self, which is the victorious life itself. By working with the Holy Guardian Angel, you have, as the higher self, seen as Michael and Tarot, this will assist you in hitting the mark, this bullseye, the solar symbol, with practice, eventually, every time. This leads to dominion over the lower worlds. When you have successfully integrated the polarities within yourself, you become a co-administrator with the divine, exactly what you were made for and as. In truth, you already are a co-creator with God. This key assists us to be more conscious of our role in that regard. So that's pretty cool. Remember, the first 7 tarot keys are powers that you already have. You must simply learn to master their use. Keys 1 through 7 each show a particular power, and they build upon the next key. So each key takes the powers from before it, and all 7 powers are seen active in this key. Now, these powers are not personal powers, but the powers of the self operating through you. This is called the house of influence. The influence is that of the self upon the house of personality, or vehicle of its own expression. This is one of my favorite statements about this key from Mr. Jason Lauderhand. And he says, I'm just roughly paraphrasing, if you are ever confused about who you actually are, spend some time with this key and let it help you straighten out any confusion you might have. You don't have to do anything to be magnificent. Nothing special particularly. It's simply because our Creator is magnificent. Sometimes people think that it's arrogant to think so highly of oneself, when it's true humility, because you are simply acknowledging the perfect Creator. And according to Kabbalah, the creations of our perfect Creator, which is us, are eternally perfectible. This includes our own vehicles, and this applies to everyone. eternally perfectible. The error comes in thinking we are separate from everything else and not as the divine made us, in its own image, divine. This key has the function of speech. This is both inner and outer speech. Inner and outer speech. This is both what we say about anything within and what we speak without. By words, we literally define the boundaries of the limitless in regards to speech. Sometimes people like to point out that we create by, quote, spelling things by words. We're casting spells. Or it's noted sometimes that we sentence ourselves by that which we say. And my favorite is that we exist in one universe. One verse, the universe. The word is sound, vibration, and color, or light. If we look at the word and speech as imagery, as well as vibratory patterns imbued with consciousness and feeling, we will get a better appreciation for the kind of mastery this key is pointing us to. The current of Kaith on the cube of space is very special. It is the only current on the cube that never leaves the east. The only current. See, it goes east below from north to south here. And then it rises and it goes across, comes down, and then it goes and it stays in the east. It's the only current of the cube that does this. The east is the place of the eternal rising light. Kaith connects the divine subconscious or the high priestess below on the cube of space to the east, the empress, the illuminating intelligence, or Venus and love. So both forms of the divine mother, the high priestess and the empress, this key connects them, the two. The East Empress is the mother that gives birth to all forms, sitting in the garden of love as Venus through creative imagination. As such, this key shows that the self never forgets who it actually is in the mind of the all. Because it never leaves the Eastern face, it never gets directly involved or confused by the countless eternal endless forms we see appearing in the West, the Western face of the cube of space. Number 7, truth about the self on the pattern of the trestle board. Living from that will, supported by its unfailing wisdom and understanding, mine is the victorious life. The more you work with this key, the more you will identify yourself with the one victorious life. That is in all things, and not just one particular appearance or form in the world of endless forms. From the Book of Tokens on Kaith on page 86, it states, when the work is finished in the field of Kaith, when the abode of influence has served its purpose, then shalt thou know, O Israel, thou hast naught to fear, naught to be guarded against. Then shall the dreadful darkness be revealed to thy perfected vision, as the flashing radiance of the light limitless. And from the field of sin and punishment thou shalt pass into the boundless freedom of my divine perfection. This concludes lesson 13 of the Alchemical Cabala, the Current of Faith, the Chariot. And the floor is now open for any questions or comments.
I just looked up what the lingam yoni means, and I just grabbed the first thing, and it said non-dual state of consciousness.
Great. Thank you.